Concept is how you see yourself and how you relate to the world and how you believe the world sees you. And if you're waiting to have a team of 50 people in order for you to believe about yourself that you are someone that makes an impact and that you are a leader, then you're never going to recruit. You're always going to be waiting. You're always going to feel like an imposter. You're always going to think, maybe I'll be a leader when I double my income. Maybe I'll do those things. But here's the thing, you cannot double your income. You cannot grow a team without first stepping into the identity of being a leader, of embodying that belief. Again, some of you have been thinking, okay, if I just do the leadership things, but it's back to your identity and how you believe you are in the world. Before we unpack all that, there's just a couple of things I just want to summarize just from our last couple of days together, because I know there has been a lot of information that you're sorting through, and many of you have been watching replays numerous times, and I love that. We are going to keep the replays up until midnight on the 1st. We've closed the registration. No one else can join. We closed it last night at midnight, you guys. 15,500 people joined this event, and we were turning people away. And so I'm just overwhelmed. I'm humbled. I'm in awe of what you guys have done and what we are doing together. And it gives me so much hope of where this industry is headed, that you all see the potential in this business model, and you see that, and you have a desire for it to be done well. That lights me up in ways you cannot possibly imagine. And so I'm just delighted to be here serving you. So over the past couple of days, we've been talking about, the 3 things keeping you from massive success and sustainable success, how you set goals and how you see yourself. That's the law of identity, or the limit of your identity. The second one is, in order to grow your income, you have to grow your influence. And it's not the influence you think. It's not becoming a TikTok influencer. It's about first believing you do have influence. It's about stepping into being a person who serves people well. And we talked about the trends that's happening for social media platforms and how you can show up well in the coming year, how you can show up authentically. You're seeing that we are moving from this idea of being curated to being authentic. Amen. I love that so much. I also want to challenge you with a thought. Some of you, came to this training and you're starting to see this concept of the sustainable philosophy of playing the long game, of just how damaging the hustle culture can be. And you're loving this idea of being anti-hustle. What I want to encourage you, what I want to caution you against, is swinging the pendulum so far into the anti-hustle realm that you become anti-hard work, that you believe that things just come to you magically, and you're just gonna, cruise. That is not what the invitation to anti-hustle is. The invitation to anti-hustle is the invitation to peace. It's the invitation to purpose. It's the invitation to working authentically. It's the invitation to putting your phone down and believing that the work is always going to be there, because that's entrepreneurship. The work is always there. There's always something that needs to be done. It's the invitation to work well, to work efficiently. And it's divorcing the idea that you are more worthy of success because you put in more hours. That only makes you more exhausted. So this anti-hustle is an invitation to a different way of being. Instead of thinking, I'm just not going to do things, these things anymore. It's a different way of being. And from a different way of being, then you embody a different way of doing. And then when you embrace that, when you step into purpose, when you step into intention, when you step into hard work and intention and consistency and focus, everything in this business model will change for you. You're going to start to see a lot of growth. You're going to be in the game far more than you are in the gap. And it's a wonderful place to be. Burnout does not exist when you are working in purpose. Okay, so I just want you to caution you, if things feel hard, if you feel uncomfortable, and you're having to do the income producing activity, and you're starting to feel that like, oh, this feels hard, this feels uncomfortable. Don't label that as hustle. Don't say, oh, messaging that person or making that post or talking about my business or making an offer about my product or following up with somebody. That's not hustle. That's assigning hustle to an activity instead of an identity, right? You can follow up with somebody from a place of purpose and peace and service and love because they genuinely desire your product and your business and your offer. But if you start labeling activities as hustle, you will find yourself not working. You will find yourself waiting for the results to happen to you. You will find yourself shying away from work and labeling it hustle. That is not the case. So this is an invitation for you to learn to work differently. You still got to work hard, but do you want to know the hardest work? The hardest work is managing all the stories in your mind. And it's exhausting. It can be exhausting at first. I remember when I first started doing mindset work and working on changing my beliefs. Changing your beliefs is hard work. The reason is because you have certain neural pathways in your brain that have been traveling a certain way for a really long time. I kind of view it as like water when it carves over rock over and over and over again, and it creates a really deep root. When you believe a certain thought about yourself or a certain way of thinking about the world, the more you think that, the more deeply it becomes embedded as a neural pathway. And your brain does not want to expend the energy to carve a new neural pathway. And that forces a lot of mental energy expenditure. And your brain, in order to keep you alive, is all about conserving energy. So of course you want to skip the thought work because it requires you to dig things up and to face things and to ask hard questions, right? So doing the mindset work is the hard work. And I'm also going to offer you, if you're doing the mindset work, but you're still not taking action, it would tell me you are not doing the right mindset work. The right mindset work, the right beliefs propel you into action. End of story, period. And some of you have been asking, well, Kristen, how do I change the beliefs? Well, I try these affirmations and I try these meditations and I try the gratitude journals and I try and tell myself these things. How do I do it? And I teach the how, I give you the how, and I give the why inside of the Social Selling Academy. There is a tool I teach there, I'm certified in it. It is called the Thought Model. And you are given that tool so that you can actually learn to catch subconscious thoughts as they happen, to catch yourself in low belief behaviors and turn the bus around to be like, oh, I see what's happening here. We're going to turn it around. And it's a phenomenal tool. It will change your life. But these beliefs, if it is not changing your behaviors, you haven't shifted your beliefs. It's one thing to tell yourself, I believe that people want what I have to offer, but if you don't believe it, deeply believe it in your body, believe it in your soul, believe it in your core, your behaviors aren't really going to change and your results won't change either. So I just want to remind you that the hard work is not always the hard work you think. This work is simple. You know, I've been telling you the last couple of days, you know what to do. You know what to do, but we have a brain that gets complicated. You have stories that get in the way. You have little beliefs that sneak in there that you don't even know. You don't even realize you're thinking. You don't realize you're thinking it because you have between 60 and 80,000 thoughts per day. 85 to 90% of them are negative, reoccurring thoughts that are subconscious. You don't even know you have them. You're just kind of operating. You're kind of just an autopilot and your really crappy thoughts creating really crappy results. And you're wondering, it must be me. Something's not working. I'm in the wrong model, or maybe I should try something else or join another training or do this or do that. And all you end up doing is when you go on a search for information, you end up grabbing more information and it creates information overload. And when your brain has too much information, what does it do? It shuts down. It says, we ain't doing anything today. Is that Netflix? Or I'm going to shop on Amazon? Maybe scroll some reels, but that's what we do when we get into research mode and we think the answer is outside of us. We just go in this frenzy, we go on this hunt, we go on the how hunt. It must be somewhere outside of me. That's why I say you have the answers. It's all right here in the stories you tell yourself. Okay, so I just really want you to just watch the stories you're starting to tell yourself about moving into, you know, this anti-hustle way of being and sustainable business. It is not me saying, take your foot off the gas, stop working. It's me saying, no. I want you to keep your foot on the gas, but we got to find a sustainable speed so that you're not burning out, so that you still have joy and purpose and peace, and that you're keeping and you're not bringing so much scarcity and desperation and anxiety to your business. And if you want that, if you want to let go of the anxiety, it starts with the beliefs you're telling yourself. But if you're telling yourself, I have to get this sale, if I don't close this person, I'm not going to hit my goal, I'm not going to hit that rank, I'm not going to get that bonus, I'm not going to make that trip, and that's just not okay. And then we bring all of that to our audience. We bring our needs to our audience. We can't do that. We can't bring our needs and say, I have desires that need to be met. So I'm going to bring those desires to my audience so that you can fix it. That's abandoning service. That's abandoning. Now we're in the salesy, gross, spammy, inauthentic place that we don't want to be. So we have to stop looking to the audience to meet our need. We have to really think about, but how can I meet their needs? How can I be in full service? And how can I trust I'm okay? But some of you don't believe you're going to be okay, which is why you bring such fear and scarcity and panic to your business, because you don't believe that you're going to be okay at the end of the day. You're going to be okay at the end of the day. It's one of the first things I feel like I need to ingrain in my students is like, you're going to be okay. We're going to stay in the long game here, but your brain interprets, failure as death. Again, I tell you that most of the time you're operating out of your very primal brain that still believes we're in the Paleolithic days, that sees risk and failure as and uncertainty as certain death. So your body is very averse to those things. And I want you to know something. I don't know if you know this. Did you know that emotional pain and physical pain are registered in the same part of your brain? So of course your body doesn't want to feel the emotion of disappointment. Of course your body does not want to feel the emotion of heartache. Of course your body doesn't want to feel rejection or sorrow or disappointment or any of those things. Why? Because it's registered in the same part of your brain that feels physical pain. Your brain's like, we cannot feel that. So in order for me to not feel that, I'm just going to become a flurry of activity and hope to God I can force the outcome so I don't have to feel disappointment or hurt or pain or any of those things. I was telling one of my mastermind members, I said, if you can learn to process your feelings and feel your feelings, you will become a far more effective business owner and you will be on the path to millions. But most of the time we just don't want to feel those things. And so we hide in our work, we hide in the hustle. Okay. So that's kind of what I wanted to kind of wrap that all up and package that for you to kind of help you get the fuller, more healthier, holistic picture. So you wouldn't leave this event thinking, the anti-hustle card or the anti-hustle movement is a get out of jail free card, meaning I don't have to work. No, you still have to work. We got to do these things, right? But belief is hard work. Forming new neural pathways is hard work. And I'm going to teach you today about the hard work of how to level up your impact. Because in order for you to, because this is what I see a lot of people doing. They can bring on a lot of customers. They can recruit really high, but they don't know how to develop a leader. They don't know how to get a team on board. They don't know how to get a team bought into the vision. They don't know, or they feel like they know how, but they're wondering, why isn't the team moving with me? What's this big momentum thing that everyone's talking about? Is it magical? How do I do it? And most people try to find momentum from a reactive place. Remember that, the whole reactive strategy? And reactive strategy is when you look at your numbers mid-month and you think, we can go for it, rally, and you try to create buy-in and you try to create impact overnight in order to get your team on board with a vision like this. And then you're like, oh, I hope it works out. And it becomes a flurry and a frenzy and your hair's on fire and it's terrifying, right? That's a reactive growth strategy instead of a proactive one. I'm going to teach you about how to increase your impact. Okay, because in order for you to grow a team, because a team is the key to residual income. Customers are today's dollar. That's your paycheck today. And I was coaching someone in the academy and she was just crushing it with her personal sales, her recruitment, she's doing well, but she knew that the next step for her was leadership development. And she was making great money running parties. And I told her, I said, listen, you're making great money doing parties, but that still requires your work, your presence. If you don't do a party, you don't make the money, versus if you teach a team to develop and have their own parties, now we're leveraging your leadership. Now you are tapping into phase 3, your efforts being less than what your pay is. That's where you're really able to scale. So I'm like, you have to develop a team. But she was kind of caught in today's quick dollar. Ooh, look at this money I'm making with my customers. And she wasn't able to zoom out and see the big picture of what sustainable income and long-term passive income comes from developing a team. And in order for you to develop a team, you have to be somebody who knows how to impact people. You have to do that. And if you're like, but Kristen, I barely have my first customer. I've never been seen as a leader. I've never, story. These are the stories we tell ourselves. And I just want to ask you, are you willing to divorce some stories today that haven't been serving you, that have been keeping you exactly where you are? Because unless you're willing to let go of stories, you're never going to change your results. And I think some stories we hold on to like a wubby, because it makes us feel better. We just think, well, if I believe that nobody wants what I have to offer, then I can just stay here and not do the terrifying thing and step out and be vulnerable and be seen, right? So are you willing to let go of that? I'm going to give you the definition of impact. And that is having a marked and powerful effect on somebody. I found that in the dictionary, but I added to it. So the dictionary says a marked and powerful effect on somebody. I added that inspires them to think or act differently. You know you're impacting someone if you are inspiring them to take action. I believe impact, your level of impact always determines the level of someone else's action and the actions they've taken, right? You've heard, and I already talked about leadership being a self-concept more than waiting for a circumstance or a rank for you to decide you're a leader. Let me tell you something. If you keep waiting for a rank to define you being a leader, you're still going to get to that rank and not feel like a leader. Why? Because you never decided I'm a leader. You kept thinking, well, when I'm that rank, then I'll feel like I'm a leader. You're not going to. I know that because there are 6- and 7-figure earners that I have worked with that still feel like they are not a leader. And they have a massive team of 700, thousands of people. And they still think I'm not a leader because they never decided to see themselves as a leader. They didn't take on the self-concept as I am somebody who leads. If I lead one person, I am a leader. If you have one customer, you are a leader. Why? Because you have led them, you have impacted them to decide I want to try a product, to take action in purchasing the product from you, and decide to purchase from you. You have led them. You can decide right now, I am a leader. I've led that one person to become a customer. I've led that one person, right? So this idea of impact, there are 3 areas where you're always focusing on your impact. Okay. We're not going to go there yet. Sorry, we're not going to go there yet. Okay, here's the 3 areas you need to impact, and then we're going to go here. All right, the 3 areas that you need to focus your impact on is your audience, because those are the people that buy from you. Those are the people that become your customers, that become your team builders. So your impact starts with your ability to impact your audience. Them deciding, I want to buy from you. That is impact you have on your audience. The next is impact on your customers. That's them buying from you and then continuing to buy from you as a happy customer. You have to have, otherwise, if they buy from you once and they disappear and they never buy from you again, the impact might not have been as high. But if you have high impact with your customers, you're also going to have high retention. I almost said attrition, but that's not true. You're going to have high retention because you have a high impact on what they do as a customer. The next level is with your team, how you impact your team. So you have to impact your audience so that they buy from you. You impact your customers so that they keep buying from you. And then you impact your team so that they sell with you. You have to impact your team to be a part of a collective goal. So those are the 3 areas of impact that you're always working on. Impacting your audience, impacting your customers, impacting your team. And I just want you to, and sometimes we get pigeonholed into thinking about only one, okay? And impact is a product of selling. And some of you think, wait, what? I thought selling was when I was telling them about my product or my favorite feature over here. But here's the thing. Selling, there's 2 types of selling. And now I will flip my chart. I got a little ahead of myself. Okay, here we go. So impact means you are always selling. And it's not always, a product. It's not always a thing that you are selling someone. I guarantee you sell someone on something every day. If you have a toddler, you are always selling them. I'm trying to sell my toddler all the time. No, you want to eat this and not this. Oh no, you want to do this and not this. I mean, you want to improve your selling skills. Try selling to a toddler. They're hard. But impact comes from you always selling. And I'm going to tell you what you're selling. We're going to break that down. But there are two things you're selling. Tangibles. This is a product you can physically hold. Starbucks sold me a flat white latte this morning. This is tangible. I can touch it. I can feel it. I get it. Your products are tangible. Then there are the intangible things that you cannot touch or grasp or hold. They are things that make you feel things, right? It's a way of seeing, a way of being. So the tangible would be this Starbucks cup. I love this flat white. The intangible is that I feel calm and at peace. I feel like cozy. And I love my coffee. It puts me in a good mood. That's an intangible. Starbucks is selling me like, don't you just love snuggling up with a good cup of coffee and looking out the gorgeous mountain view? And I really do have a really beautiful view here. And so but that's an intangible. And a lot of times I see people only focusing on selling the tangibles, selling things that you can touch and hold. But that's only half the equation. You have to sell the intangibles as well. And I'm going to break that down for you even further, but those are two types. So with impact, you have to be sure, wait, am I just selling a product or am I selling things that can't be touched or held? An example would be like, okay, a tangible result with the Academy would be you rank up, you make more money. An intangible would be you experience more peace than you ever have with your family. You have time off, you have more hours in your day. You have less anxiety, you feel purpose. That's an intangible, something you cannot hold, but that you understand and that you desire and that you want. Okay. The next, selling is about radical empathy. It is about you understanding your audience deeply and seeking to meet their need. And it's not just your audience, it's your customers and your team. Again, those three levels. Always be thinking this on the three levels: the audience, the team, and the customers. Okay, so are you posturing radical empathy? You might with your audience, but are you not? I'd be curious if you're able to have radical empathy for members on your team when they're coming to you the 15th time asking you the same question. Are you able to have radical empathy? And also, if they're coming to you for the 15th time with the same question, I'm just very curious about your systems. Because if your team sees you as the primary resource instead of a system, we've got a problem. And that's something I teach as well. Okay, but are you able to have radical empathy? Good selling requires you to have empathy for your audience. Another thing with selling is selling creates a transformation. Selling always transforms somebody for the better, right? The best selling leaves somebody transformed for the better. And again, if you're still thinking of selling a product, yes, you can sell a product. The experience of selling a product to somebody and the way they experience the selling, it's good selling if they leave the conversation, whether they buy or not, and they believe I felt seen, I felt known, I felt heard. And even though I don't want to buy the product today, that was a really pleasant selling experience. I've had that many times in my life, but I guarantee there have been other times where you've been like, that was a less than pleasant selling experience, likely because there was a lack of empathy. There was a lack of deeply trying to understand you and meet your need, because the person was coming to you to meet their need. Remember I was saying, if you come to your audience thinking they're a cash grab, looking for them to meet your need, they're gonna feel that. They're not gonna enjoy that, right? So good selling creates a transformation. Again, impact is a product of selling. These are what is required for good selling. Lastly is your ability, I skipped one. Invitation to a decision. Selling is invitation to a decision. It's helping someone decide, do I want this? Yes or no? And then if I say yes, then I'm going to take action based on that decision. So with your audience, it's, do I want this product? Yes or no? If I want this product, I'm going to take action. I'm going to purchase the product. Okay. Or do I want this business model? Yes or no? If so, I'm going to take action to build this business, to join and to do the things and to build a business, right? It's an invitation. Like, I just want you to think of how an invitation feels to you. It feels open, When I'm inviting somebody to something, I never am like, you better say yes, otherwise I'm going to feel crushed. And there's a lot of pressure for you to answer me. Like an invitation feels like a really open posture. It feels like I'm offering this to you. I know how good it is, but I'm going to let you decide. I'm going to let you have all the power. Okay. So it's an invitation to a decision. And also letting them and holding space for them to decide if it's the right time for them to make, whether it's yes or no. You're holding space for a yes or no decision. Drew, would you mind scrolling down the comments for me? I just want to see, I'm like, the comments are coming in fast. All right. All right. The last one is holding belief. And holding belief is your willingness to hold belief for the person. You are holding the belief until they see the result. Because a lot of times when someone joins you, your job is to kind of hold belief for them until they believe it themselves. It's holding space for that. And that's you bringing certainty to the conversation. Listen, if you're selling something, you better feel a lot of certainty yourself with what you're selling. This is going to change your life. This is amazing. This is the results you're going to get. You're literally holding belief for that person, saying like, I get that your belief isn't there yet. My belief is there. And I'm holding space so until you can believe this yourself. Can you hold belief for that person? All right. Perfect. Someone says, what do you mean by giving them space to say yes or no? Giving them space means you're holding the space. You're allowing them to have their thoughts, have their feelings. You're not pressuring them to an answer that you want to hear. It's letting them decide. It's holding that space for them. Again, it's giving all the power to the person who's making the decision. And when they feel like they have all the power, they feel nurtured and cared and supported for it. And guess what? What happens there? That increases your impact with them. They trust you more. And trust starts with the selling. Think about this. How someone onboards to your team, how someone joins you, it starts with how you sold them to your team. Your leadership and how they see you as a leader, is how you've showed up and you're selling the business opportunity to them. Okay, how they see you, your impact starts in the very beginning. Not after they've joined you, not after they've made their first $100. Impact starts at the audience level. Audience, customers, and then team. Okay? So, y'all following? Okay. So now that this is how impact works, we're going to be talking about buy-in. Because in order for impact directly reflects the level of buy-in you're able to create on your team. If you want to rank advance, if you want to hit a big incentive, if you want your team to rank advance, you have to have buy-in. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to like rank advance yourself, it's exhausting. Not having buy-in, it's just going to feel like a war cry that nobody's responding to. And you're going to wonder, what is going on? Why is nobody wanting to do this with me? And you know, buy-in is the problem when you're feeling like nobody wants to work the business. When you're feeling like you have to, it's pulling teeth to get people to show up to work. What that tells me is that you need to work on your buy-in. And buy-in takes time. You can't rush buy-in. It's kind of like dating. Buy-in is trust. Buy-in says, I trust where we're going. I trust you. I'm along for the ride. Buy-in says, okay, I don't fully understand it, but I trust you. Let's do this together. Can you imagine if it's a lot like dating. Can you imagine if someone tried to get all their trust from you in a single night? You'd be creeped out. You'd be like, wait, what? It's like talking marriage on the first date. I'm sorry, I was just here to get to know you, right? You can't accelerate trust in that way. Buy-in takes time, okay? But I'm gonna talk to you about the 4 levels of buy-in in order for you to have sustainable rank advancements and for you to grow a team and for you to actually be seen as a leader. It's all about buy-in. Okay. Your level of buy-in is determined by how well you sell. And if that just made your heart drop into your butt and you're like, but I suck at selling, you only suck at selling if you don't believe in what you're selling. Let that sit with you for a second. You only suck at selling if you don't believe in what you're selling. Of course, I would feel awkward and bad if I didn't believe in what I was selling. Of course, I would feel like I was swindling someone or dishonest if I didn't fully believe in it. This is why you have to have radical belief and have massive certainty in what you were selling somebody, right? So how anybody can be good at selling. If you do the things I just showed you on the other paper, are you able to have radical empathy? Are you able to hold space for somebody and have certainty? Are you able to just think about meeting their needs? All those things. You can be excellent at selling. And when it comes to your team, you move from, when you have a customer join you, you're selling a product. It's mostly tangible focused, right? And I'm gonna break down even more in the next sheet. But when someone joins your team, you're gonna actually be primarily selling intangible things. You're gonna be selling them on things they can't quite grasp. And some of you are champions at selling a tangible thing. Look at this mascara. This mascara is amazing. This is why you need this mascara. But when it comes to selling a vision and selling work ethic and selling a process, you're like, oh, hey, you should do it. Come on, it's fun. Okay? They're different things. All right, so here we go. Buy-in is how well you sell, and it's selling in these 4 areas. The first one is how well you sell your audience. We've kind of talked about this. How well you sell your audience. Are you casting the vision? Do you believe in results for your audience? This is so big. Do you believe in your offer? Do you believe in the results that you're promising them? But if you're like, oh, and some of you are like, some of you have a lot of belief in your product, but you struggle with belief in the vision. You struggle with belief in the business model. I think that's the #1 thing. I see some people struggle with belief in the product. I think sometimes if you're in the health and wellness space, because makeup is pretty straightforward, but with the health and wellness space, I think you have to really evaluate your beliefs and you can have belief in the product. Do you have belief in the process that you're going to be walking them through for their health transformation? Are you selling them the result? Or are you selling them the process? I'm gonna break that down even more for you. But are you selling your audience, having belief in them, belief in the offer, and belief that you can help them? Do you believe you can help them? Because if you don't believe you can help them, then you're gonna suck at selling them. Because you'll be like, yeah, you should do it. And listen, your inner narrative is always how your sales pitch is, the energy of your pitch, always. So if you're thinking, I'm not a great leader, I haven't seen success yet, I guess this is a great business model. I mean, I feel like I work a lot and see nothing in return. This is how your pitch sounds. Hey, you should totally join this business. I'm not sure I'm going to get you results. I'm not really sure I'm a good leader for you. I actually haven't seen a lot of success and actually feel like I work a lot and I don't get a lot from my pay. Do you want to join this business model? That is 100% what happens when your beliefs permeate in your behaviors. That is how your pitch sounds to your audience. Versus if you're believing, I can help you. This is exactly what you need. Of course, this is the best fit for you, and I can help you today. Your pitch would say, hey, I have this amazing business model. I can absolutely
give my
help
baby
you
her
today.
ball back.
I've done my first few steps in this so that I can help you do your first steps very simply, very clearly. It's very possible for you today. And today is a great day for you to do it because X, Y, and Z. Let me know if you'd like to get on a call or message me if that interests you. It's a very different pitch, right? You have to, it always starts with
Quit doubling up
buying
my
with your
baby.
audience. What energy are you in when you're selling your audience? What are your beliefs when you're selling them?
Good
Okay.
girl, Jazzy. You can play with your dog.
Next,
They double team my
Selling
little
your
baby brain.
customers.
Get it from me.
right? We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier too. Selling your customers, selling them on the process, the product, themselves, and their results. Are you selling them on the user
No.
experience? Are you selling them on the long term? Are you selling them on why it's great to be your long-term ongoing customer and why it's great to work with you? Are you selling them that? Are you selling them on why it's great to have retention with you? Are you selling them on here's how we can better your results in a better time? I want you to think about this. Think about how I've over-delivered to you at $9. Are you willing to do the work to over deliver to your people who buy a product from you? Because over delivery creates it creates a lot of trust, and it creates an amazing customer service experience. And when they have a great, want to buy with you more, right? So are you willing to over deliver to your customers? Are you willing to give them a great customer service experience? If you give them a great customer service experience, they actually have a great concept of the business model. And they're like, this is fantastic. And some of your best builders will be some of your best customers. Your best builders will be people that have fabulous customer service experience. And what happens is when they had a great customer service experience, they feel confident selling it to people. They're like, hey, I had this great experience here. Here's how I want to treat people. So of course they become a great salesperson. Why? Because you served them exceptionally first. You gave them a phenomenal customer service experience. Okay, ready? Selling the team. Listen. Selling to the team. This might shock you as a leader, but your selling is not done when they decide to onboard with you. Your selling has just started. They said yes to the opportunity. Guess what? You have to keep selling them on the opportunity over and over and over again. And some of you are surprised by that. You're like, but you said yes. Why are you not showing up? Because you have to remind them. You have to keep selling them on why they joined. And some of you get a little caught up in your head and you think you need to sell them on you. Some of you think, and I think this is a road bump for a lot of you, of why you're not confidently selling the business model and why you're not stepping into being a leader, is you think people need to buy you. You think you need to sell people on you. Like, look at me, I'm a great leader. This is totally why you should join me. And you have a lot of imposter syndrome about that because you're like, but I don't know if I think those things, because you think you need to sell them on you. Wrong. Who do you think you need to sell them on? See if you can answer in the comments. I'd be curious. Who do you need to sell them on? Your team. Who do you need to sell them on? Have some water. Anybody? Well, you sold them the business and they said yes. Yes. Yep. Kristen and Aaron got it. You have to sell them on them. You have to sell them on themselves. When you think you have to sell them on you, you're making it all about you. You've left service, and again, you made it about you. And if you make leadership about you, it's going to be so miserable for you. You're going to feel really emotionally attached to the actions or inactions of your team because you're always going to think it reflects on you. I'm a good leader. I'm a bad leader. If my team performs, I'm a good leader. What if you can just decide you're a good leader no matter what? Instead of constantly falling victim to the behavior of your team because you're making it about you. You have to sell them on them. Instead of thinking their inaction in this business, them not doing the work, is a poor reflection on me as a leader, that's you making it about you. Instead of getting curious and saying, wait, why are they not all in on them? How can I help them get all in on them again? Where have they lost vision? Where have they lost belief? And how can I help them? It's not about you. And thank God, it's about them. And when you leave it being about you, then you're able to really move into servant leadership and make it about them and be like, okay, where did they lose belief? And how do I need to sell it again? I was listening to this podcast, and Brendon Burchard, he has coached presidents. He has coached presidents of the United States. And he said multiple. And he said every president he coached, each president said to him how much it surprised them how often they had to keep selling and saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over again to their administration during their entire presidency. Like every president was surprised. Wait, I have to say this again? Wait, I have to paint the vision again? Wait, didn't I just have this conversation with this department? Why isn't everybody getting it? Listen, if the president of the United States has to repeat themselves over and over and over again and keep casting vision over and over and over and over again, you do too. You have to sell over and over and over and over. Instead of being annoyed by it, I want you to really step into it and be like, of course we need to be sold. What I'm doing right now, right here, right now, at this $9 event is I'm selling you on you again. I'm selling you on a vision. I'm actually selling you on my philosophy. This entire experience is a sales experience for you. But it doesn't feel like that because you
15,500.
feel served. I want you to think about that right now. Ask yourself, do I feel sold to or do I feel served? Right? This is why you need to do this and do this instead. Selling, 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 selling. You have to do the same thing with your team. Every person that joins you, just because you sold them once doesn't mean they're sold for life. You have to keep selling them. Why? Because they have a human brain that's designed to say, this isn't working, maybe this isn't worth it. Why did I do this? Right? But I think most people see that they're surprised or annoyed. Like, I have to say this again? You know, why? Why do I have to tell Sarah, sorry if your name's Sarah, why do I have to tell Sarah again the greatness of this business model? You're going to have to tell Sarah all the time. Every rank she hits, you're going to need to remind Sarah the beauty of the business model. Every time someone tells Sarah no, you're going to have to remind Sarah why this is a great business
Stop, Gigi.
model. You're going to have to remind her why she is great, why she is worth it. You're going to have to go back to selling them, right? Okay, ready for the last one? This is probably, I should have put this at the top, but here we are. And this is the one I see most people neglect. Selling yourself. You have got to sell you on you. You've got to sell you on you. You have to be, before you can even think, really, let's just inverse this, okay? Selling yourself is the most important thing you can do. Because if you cannot sell yourself on the business model, on the vision, on your team, on where you're going, on the offer that you have, on your influence, on your impact, listen, forming a new belief is you actively selling yourself, selling a new thought to your brain until your brain believes it. That's what selling yourself is. Selling yourself is your brain holding on to this old thought saying, I have a lot. Your brain does this. It looks at this old thought that you've believed for a really long time that has a lot of evidence for. It's going to be like, no, you don't understand. I'm not good at selling. I'm not good at this social marketing thing. I'm really bad at video. Whatever thought your brain has held for a really long time, it's collected years of evidence of it being true, and it's going to feel true to you. Some of you have thoughts that you're like, no, Kristen, it's fact. I suck at this. This is just who I am. I want you to divorce that language about yourself and stop saying, this is just who I am. That's a fixed identity. Instead, look at this old thought with all the behavior, and selling yourself is bringing a new thought and starting to sell your brain on like, okay, but look at this thought here. Is it maybe possible that this could be true? Is it maybe possible? And at first your brain's gonna fight. It's gonna be like, nope, because look at all this evidence over here. Nope, and this time, and this one time when I was 5 years old, and this one time when I was 10 years old, and my dad said this, and my kindergarten teacher said this, and my upline said this to me one time, and one time I was with that company. You're gonna have so much evidence. And what happens is most of the time when you try to sell yourself on a new belief, you believe all of your brain's objections. Oh yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, I do remember that time with that conversation with that kindergarten teacher. It's definitely true, right? You leave the selling. You believe every one of your objections. You want to be a master at selling? Learn to overcome your own objections. And I'll help you do that tomorrow. I'm gonna help you overcome your objections because I know you want to join the academy, right? But if you want to become a master at selling, you have to learn to overcome every single objection your brain is always presenting to you. Of like, I don't have control of my business. My team doesn't want it. You got to sell yourself on why you believe your team does want this. Why this is still worth doing. Consistency is you selling yourself every damn day that this is still worth doing. But some of you don't sell yourselves. You're so used to your brain selling you on the older, crappier thought that has a little bit more evidence for. This is why selling to yourself, these become really easy when you've sold yourself. Selling you could do in your sleep. Selling becomes fun when you've sold yourself. Are you willing to sell you on you? Are you willing to go all in on you? I tell this in my academy, I'm like, do you have your own back? Are you selling yourself on your decision and saying, I'm doing this? Here's the reason why I'm doing this. I like myself for this decision. I'm going all in on the decision. I'm so sold on this decision that even if 15 people were to come to me and say, this is a bad decision, I've sold myself so hard on it that what they say to me means nothing. I'm not deterred at all. I'm not deterred at all. You are here at this event because I sold myself so hard on the vision I had for this industry over and over and over again. When I had people say, this industry, you cannot teach sustainability and network marketing. It's all about speed, it will crumble. You cannot teach this. You're crazy. I was like, fine, I'll go alone. I will pioneer alone. That is selling yourself. It's saying, I will pioneer this alone if I have to, until I can get everyone on board, and I'm going to create buy-in and I'm going to sell it. You are experiencing buy-in right now. I'm creating buy-in. Whether you join me in the academy or you ever do another event for me, what I'm trying to do is create a buy-in for this collective vision of where this industry is headed. And it's so fun. Let me just tell you, just so I can give you the excitement I have so that you can see what I see. There are people, very talented people, finding the podcast, finding the platform that are literally saying, I had no interest in this business. They said, you have convinced me I want this business model. And they are joining the academy before they join a company. People are joining the academy before they join a company. They say, I want to get educated and I want to learn this industry well. And then they end up going and shopping for companies. This is happening over and over again. So people are that hopeful for this industry. And it's because I was willing to sell me on this vision for a long time. And I'm asking you to do that for your team. You will get to the top rank in your company if you can sell you on you. Do you hear this? You can get to the top rank of your company if you can sell you on you. But you have to be willing to wake up every day and go to battle with your brain, because your brain's going to be there with all the objections. Your brain's going to be like, bring it. I've got all kinds of objections on why this is a terrible idea. Let's go. Every day I was willing to go to battle. Okay, it's 4 levels of buy-in. If you're like, well, what am I selling? What exactly am I selling? Are you ready? See, there was someone that commented, said, she's like, I'm not even a social seller and I'm here in this training. People are sneaking in. They're like, but how can I get this training? Do you know how many people are upset that I only teach this to social sellers? I'm like, no, I know my people. I know what industry I want to serve. Okay, ready? What are you selling? When you're selling buy-in, what are you selling? The first thing you're selling is the vision. Where? That's the where. Where are we going? Casting the vision, painting the picture of this is where we're going. This is where the industry is headed. This is what it's going to look like. This is where our team is going. This is what our team page is going to look like and feel like. This is what we want to help people do. Our team wants to contribute to this charity. We want to help 1,000 moms pay $500, earn $500 a month. Whatever it is, you have to think, where are we going? And why? The process. Well, that's why is later. Okay, where are we going? The process, you guys. I think some of you have genuinely sold the vision, but what I don't see is selling people on the process. You have to sell people on the process, because if you're just selling them on this is what you get, what happens is they enter in the process and they get discouraged, they quit, they give up. And if you haven't sold them on the process that it takes them to get from A to B, they will give up. It's the same for your customers. If they're trying, a product that takes time to work, if it's a health product or weight loss, right? If you've sold them weight loss, you better have sold them on the process and why it's worth them sticking with the process. But if you only sold them the result, as soon as they're frustrated in the process, they're gonna be like, I'm out, try something else, next quick fix. And this is what I'm doing with you. I'm selling you on my process, saying like, listen, here's the results you're gonna get, but here's the process you have to follow. And here's why it's so important for you to follow this process. And here's why you're gonna love the process. You gotta also sell the process, being like, you're gonna love who you become in this process. Because it's really easy to sell a destination to people. It's easy. I can sit here and sell you this flashy destination for you. But what is more important that I sell you is the journey. Because if you can't enjoy the journey, you'll never get to the destination. I would so much rather sell you on the process and why the journey is worth it. Why it's the ride of a lifetime. for you to get where you want to go. Why enjoying that ride is so important, even with all the hard things and the discouragements and the setbacks and the failures. You have to sell people on the process. Otherwise, they abandon it. They leave. The first sign of conflict, the first sign of frustration. Your new builders, you have to sell them the process, your onboarding, your system, your tools, over and over and over. And then you get surprised. And by the way, you have to keep selling them on the process. So different with weight loss. If you've ever been on a weight loss journey, you have to sell yourself on the process. Not having the vision without selling the process is like selling someone. It's like a gym trainer saying, I'm gonna help you get in shape. You're gonna look really cut. You're gonna look like this, model on this magazine. And then if they haven't been sold on the process, they're the person that goes in the gym and they work out really, really hard for a week. And then they get on the scale and nothing's changed. And they're like, screw this. Okay, yeah, sure, you're gonna help me look like the cover model. You lied to me. You sold me the wrong thing. Instead of like, wait, hold on, so-and-so, listen, this is part of the process. Listen, the first 3 weeks, it's just about muscle memory. The first 3 weeks, we're gonna work on form. The first 3 weeks, we're gonna work on habit. Why? Because I want this to be your way of life. I want these, like you going to the gym and lifting weights and eating vegetables and, drinking your water. It shouldn't be, again, behavior modification versus identity. Behavior modification says, okay, I'm just going to eat my vegetables, cut all the carbs, cut out the sugar, drink water, and live on celery juice until I get the weight off. But because they never integrated that into how they are being and who they are and their identity, what happens when they hit the goal weight? They're like, thank God, someone give me a loaf of bread and some carbs. Because they were all about behavior modification instead of like, wait, this is who I am and this is what I do and this is my way of being in the world. Because they weren't really sold on the process. They were just sold on, just get me there. Just get me to the destination, which is hustle. Hustle happens in weight loss too, just so you know. It's where quick fixes and fad diets, like I have a podcast all about this. It's called Diet Culture and Hustle Culture. They're the same, right? This is why the diet industry is a multi-billion dollar industry. The diet industry does not want you to find out about what I'm teaching you. The diet industry does not want you to find out that the best diet is right here between your ears. That's your mindset. To be like, well, no one can know this. No one can know. It starts with your thoughts. No one can know that. Where would our money go, right? Okay, so you have to sell the where, the how, the intangible. You must sell the intangibles. This is kind of the what. You can sell the intangibles and the tangibles. We'll kind of go back to weight loss, or even we'll go to business. Selling an intangible to that person who is at the gym, you have to sell them like, how are you sleeping? How are you feeling? Is your energy better? Is your mood better? What's your self-talk like? Those are intangible things. But if someone's only sold on the tangibles, inches lost, pounds lost, they're going to get really frustrated. They're going to quit. It's the same thing with business. If you have only sold that the value is in the paycheck and the rank up, and you haven't sold the intangibles, like you're going to be a different person, you're going to experience peace, you're going to have confidence, you're going to create new friendships, everything in your life is going to enrich them because of this. If you have not sold them the intangibles, that's what gets them through the process. The intangibles is what helps them stay in the process. Okay. Lastly, is the result. This is what they get. What will it look like? What will it look like? This is where I see most people sell. Most people sell the result, but they don't sell the vision, the process, the intangibles, and all the things that are necessary in selling. The result, you selling somebody time freedom, first you have to define, what does that look like to them? What's that? I'm laughing at all of you selling the academy in the comments. Jeez. Stay with me, guys. Stay with me. Stay here, okay? The result, when you're selling somebody into your organization, the result would be like, you can make $500 a month, right? And that's great. You can make $1,000 a month. You can make, here's on the comp plan. Here's what's available for you. It's so easy to sell the result, but be warned. If people only purchase a result, if you only sold them a result, You lacked selling them the 3 things that keep them in the process for the result. This is why people quit, because you sold them a result, but they weren't sold here. And what happens is when you try to sell this on the back end, when they're about to quit and say, this isn't working, nope, nope, nope. And they're trying to say, like, we'll go back to that gym trainer who says, like, you're going to get washboard abs or whatever. And their person is frustrated that nothing's happening because they're not paying attention to the intangibles and they only have value in the results and they weren't sold on the process. What happens is when they go to that trainer and say, I want my money back, or I quit, or I don't want this, then the trainer, what happens is because the trainer didn't sell it on the front end, he tries to sell it on the back end. And he tries to sell, wait, you don't understand. No, it's a process. And it's all true. Everything he could say is true. Like, listen, your body is doing this. Here's what's going on. But what's happened is because this wasn't sold on the front end and it's now being sold on the back end, now there's a breach of trust and there's a lot more objections to overcome with that person. How many of you have had that? Where you're trying to explain, no, just stay with this and eventually it's going to work and just stay consistent. Now you're preaching consistency because you didn't sell them the process in the beginning, saying, hey, you know what? We're going to do a post. Like some of you, if a brand new partner comes to you and they did the really brave thing and they posted online about the business, and some people get a bite. Some people get people that are interested right away. And there are some people that get nothing. You have to reward their process. You have to reward, like, I'm so freaking proud of you for doing this. And now we're going to keep going. You did the brave thing. Now we have to stay consistent, right? But if they weren't sold on the process, they think, oh no, I posted and nobody came. No one was begging me about the business model or the product or any of those things, right? It's the same. It's the same. And I also want you to think about this. Doing this for a rank advancement, it's the same. Where are we going? How are we going to get there? What is that going to look like, both tangibly and intangible? You want to do both. I would encourage you to, in your notes, add tangible to this, tangible and intangible, because you want to sell both. But the result here tends to be mostly tangible, okay? And then you have to tell them, like, this is what it'll look like. But again, you have to sell them on them. You have to sell them on, like, this is the vision for you and this is why it's important for you. Instead of you being in this scarce place reactively in mid-month and you look at your numbers and you're like, oh, we could rank up this month. And then you have all of these, like, hey, how many orders do you need? How many orders do you need? How many orders do you need? What do we got to get doing? And then it, like, becomes this overbearing, really intense experience that's about you ranking up, instead of, like, you have to be thinking proactively, how can I help this leader feel like I'm on board for their vision and where they want to go? And it's more about their rank up than it is about mine. When you do that, you will have so much buy-in. People will follow you off a bridge. Be like, where are we going? Off a bridge? Okay, let's go. It's fine. I hope there's water. I hope there's a floaty thing or a water thing to catch us at the bottom, right? That is when you have great buy-in. Buy-in is the product of great selling, and great selling is a product of impact. Impact is your ability to have a marked and powerful effect on someone that inspires them to think and act differently. And the number one, and I'm just going to hammer this home again. If you can sell you on you, you can sell you on yourself, anything is possible. But you have to be willing to put the gloves on every day. You have to be willing to gloves up, get out of bed and be like, okay, I'm going to take on my brain again today with the same garbage thought. And so that is the hard work. That is the hard work that will take you to where you want to be, to the results you want. Okay. That has been our 3 days together. I'm going to say this. Tomorrow is the live Q&A, where I'm going to be answering all of your questions about joining the Social Selling Academy. If you have watched this and you're like, Kristen, I need to figure out how to put the gloves on. I need to figure out what that tangibly looks like for me to wake up every day and figure out how to change these dang beliefs that I won't let go of. How do I divorce these stories? How do I learn about my niche? How do I show up consistently? How do I switch all these things that I've been doing for years and years and years? How do I break this cycle? How do I come out of burnout? Please help me fall in love with my business again. If that's you, if you're like, I want to work with you more, I want to figure out what this looks like, I'm inviting you to come to the Q&A tomorrow. Same time, I'm literally answering every question you could have. Is there a payment plan? What if I work a 9 to 5? What comes with my purchase? What does that look like? We are starting a brand new 90-day goal getter challenge on January 3rd. You want to be a part of the community. I'm very proud, and I'm going to be very bold in saying this. There's no community like the Social Selling Academy. You will be shocked at the quality and how elevated that place is. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of that community. I might get emotional, goodness. And I've worked very hard at creating a culture that elevates the entire industry. And so what we do in the Academy is we start, when you join between now and midnight on the 31st, this Friday night, you get this 90-day goal getter journal mailed to you. It is not your typical planner. I know I've been saying like planners aren't the answer. This is a journal, and it has a ton of prompts with a specific tool. And there's also an income producing tracker in here as well. It gives you everything you need. This became the #1 game changer inside the Academy. This is what caused a ton of massive results for people. So if you're like, Kristen, I need to learn how to do this sustainably with consistency, it's right here. So you can go today. If you're like, I already know, I don't need to be sold. Some of you are already sold and you just need my permission to say, yes, you belong there. Go do it. Click, go to thesocialsellingacademy.com and you can join today. Otherwise, tomorrow, I'm going to answer all of it for you. I'm going to make a very bold statement right now. If you think, and hopefully my Academy members will back me up on this, and they don't have to, because this is true for me. If you think the value you have received over the next 3 days from $9 has been a lot, this is a drop in the bucket compared to all the value that is provided to you inside the Social Selling Academy. It's a lifetime program. You join once, you get to reap the benefits and have compounding ROI for the lifetime of your social selling career. So I know you're going to have questions. I will see you tomorrow at the Q&A. I'm going to answer them all. I'm going to offer a moment of gratitude here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with your uplines, your teams, your friends, your cross lines. Thank you for making this an extraordinary event. Thank you for being elevated. We did not get a single report of anybody doing any gross activity. Thank you. We appreciate that. Thank you for your desire to do better. A huge shout out to my amazing team who's been moderating this group, who's been handling the customer service and answering tons of questions. A huge shout out to my video guy, Drew, who's loaned me his space and is doing this filming. He's amazing. And also just a huge shout out to all of you. Thank you. It has been such a privilege and such an honor to serve you. We do events like this once, maybe twice a year. It's not often. So make sure you get the replays, make sure you share, with your friends in here. And I just want to encourage you, put on the gloves today. You are so worth it. The results you've been talking yourself out of for so long, where you've been telling yourself there's no way I'm going to get there, or that's meant for me. I assure you it is. I've coached thousands of social sellers just like you. Even if you were to say, Kristen, you don't understand, my story is different. No, you can have extraordinary results, and you are so worthy of them. So thank you again. Thank you again for being a part of this event, and we will catch you guys later. Bye.